Hello everybody, it's me, Ghost Critic. Hope you are all well this Thursday night. What a stack of comics I have for you this week. And with two hotly anticipated releases, at least for this reader this week, it was with some trepidation that I opened a couple of comic books. But to see and hear what they were, we better get on with a comic book review show. So my first comic this week is not first because it's in any way bad. In fact, I waited and waited to get my hands on this. I'm not going to really talk a great deal about it because it came out a few weeks ago, so you'll have heard it from other people within our comic book community talk about it, so you'll get the general gist of it. But it's one of my favourite kind of independent type of writers and creators and artists, and he just does everything. He first came to my attention through our good friend Custom Bromstar, Scott, when he recommended this fantastic book, King City. It is, of course, Brandon Graham's Multiple Warheads. Oh, what a great book this is. I'm not going to talk about the story and what goes on in it because, quite frankly, who knows what's going on, to be fair. But more about the way I felt about it when I was reading it, because this is one of those books that really is just so immersive. It looks so simply drawn. It looks like nothing is going on. But at the same time, I don't know what it is about Brandon Graham, I really don't, but I want to live in the worlds he creates. There is just something about them that is just so wild, weird, surreal. I just love this book to pieces. 48 pages, no ads, and I was there for a good 20 minutes just pouring through this. There is so much detail that might not necessarily be part of the story at all, but you do have to look at every single panel and just see the little bits he puts in, the little details, whether it's some silly little character that, you know, has no bearing on the story at all, but it's so perfectly realised and it should definitely be there. If it wasn't there, it would look as if something was missing. One of the things this comic book made me do is it made me want to draw. And I'm the worst drawer. You've seen it. You've seen my pitiful attempts. And I'm not meaning like drawing a comic book, but just these landscapes he creates, again, with so much detail, so much attention to detail in there, and I just think, oh, I can do that. And then you look at it more, because it looks so simple, but you realise how painstakingly drawn this must have been, despite the huge expanses of, I guess people would call it empty space. I mean, like, hopefully you can see that, but it does look like a whole double page splash of nothing. But you look along here and you look at the city edges that they're coming to, and you see just, again, all the beautiful detail. Oh, I can't say enough about this book. If it hadn't been for a few other comics, you never know, and I picked it up on time as well, this would definitely be high up, if not pick of the week. But it wasn't. Let's move on. Oh dear me. Ugh. Issue 2, Phantom Stranger. Oh, I don't know what was wrong with this, but it just made me feel uncomfortable. It made me feel itchy. I can't explain it any other way. This really was quite a terrible comic. I don't normally say that, and it's such a disappointment too, because it's a title when they first said this was coming to our 52 DC universe, I was really excited about and kind of forgave them for cancelling OMAC. But given that it's written by the same person too, it's nowhere near as much fun. Nowhere near. Where do I start? Apart from the title, the cover itself, The Secret of Pandora's Quest. What secret? We've already known that she wants to open the box. And apart from that, she never really gave anything away. Or did I miss something? I don't think so. This tried to show Phantom Stranger's the kind of juxtaposition between his supposed family home life, his ordinary life, and that of the supernatural element of his life. So yes, Pandora gets thrown in. Then we have some demons thrown in. Trigon's son, I think it's Belial, comes and visits and thanks him for sending Raven back to his father. And then we're getting introduced, I should have looked this up first, but this Terence 13 guy, I don't know who he is. If he's new, he seems to know the Phantom Stranger quite well. Maybe he is a character that's been used in the history of Phantom Stranger before. I'll have to look that up. But it just seemed to come out of nowhere. So for new readers, this kind of felt meh. And then a big kind of issue climax baddie of this haunted highwayman. And you were kind of just left all over the place. What just happened in this issue? And then they throw in another little cameo with Jim Corrigan. So at least we seem to be pushing a little bit further towards Spectre being within the DC universe. Yes, we've already seen a glimpse of him. We want to see more. We want to see more. Give him his own title, perhaps. I wouldn't recommend this. I don't often say that. But really, don't waste your money. So with Buffy issue 15, we're still following our new vampire slayer, Billy, and his watcher, Devon. And Devon's putting him through his paces. It's training time, and it's pretty dismal. He's not doing that great a job, and you wonder how this boy is ever going to survive against our new zombies. There's the witty banter between the two, and Billy's kind of friend, the girl, she turns up, and a few nods, wink winks, nudge nudges at the ongoing attraction between the two boys. Is kind of joked up a little bit, but it's kind of sweet, it's kind of cute at the same time. Now, the fact that Billy isn't actually, or doesn't appear to be very good, as soon as he gets into any kind of danger, I think that's when the kind of Slayer skills kick in, because suddenly it's pow, bash, poof. With the stakes and with the kicking and with the punching, he's all very good. Although, to begin with, he's quite clumsy. So, I don't know whether it's kind of that long shot domino kind of mutant power where luck just seems to happen for our main character. There's a whole kind of hostage situation, and of course Billy's grandmother is right in the centre of it, so he has to, you know, man up, so to speak, and go in there completely untrained, unplanned, and go and save Granny Dearest. I thought it was really good at the end where Buffy actually appears. Yes, she makes an appearance, and basically she's bringing Billy and Devon into the fold, and it looks like we've got ourselves a new Slayer team. I really enjoyed it. It was fun. like I said, it's full of humour, it's full of the witty banter, the story goes along, there's an emotional input there. I enjoyed it. If you're a fan of Buffy, this is probably going to be right up your street. It's not amazing, but I'm waiting for, you know, the magic to come back. And that's Buffy. And so we're on to Amazing Spider-Man, issue 697. And where did we leave off with 696? Oh yes, we've got two hobgoblins. And they're chasing down Max and Peter. And this is what gets me. Either Max knows Peter is Spider-Man and he's just being a good guy and not letting on and keeping his secret, or he is the stupidest genius ever. I mean, Peter, forgetting that he is Spider-Man, he's learned how to use Spider-Man's weapons and kind of web shooters incredibly well. And I'm not buying the whole, well, you know, there was Spider Island, I learnt how to use them then excuse. No. Despite the fact that this was kind of a lot of fun, a lot of action, the two hobgoblins trying to get Max and Peter, but at the same time fighting with themselves so often, you know, it is fun, it's entertaining. But at the same time, nothing else seems to be happening. Yes, we have people waking up out of comas, is he? I don't know. There are villains and they are amassing, let's put it that way. But there does not seem to be like a gradual crescendo to, you know, we're probably like, what, 4 issues away because they're being a little bit cheeky and throwing in a 0.1 issue along the way before they get it to issue 700. But given that issue 700 is meant to be this huge big deal and it's going to stop the title from being published and it's going to go out and start again at #1 with Superior Spider-Man, I think the end is going to be really rushed because there really isn't that much of a setup going on at the moment. Sure, you've got the old Hobgoblin and he's suddenly become this kind of pimp daddy for villains. He's gone into business in a kind of Batman Inc. type of way, but instead, what does he call them? The Devil Spider franchise. Oh, good God. I just don't know. It would, like I said, it was fun. It was entertaining. It seemed to be over very quickly, but there just doesn't seem that sense of dread, that sense of menace that something big is about to happen. And on to Wolverine and the X-Men issue 20. And as you can see from the cover, this is very much an Angel-centric storyline. Using his newfound, or rather new-grown abilities, he's gone out into the world to go and recruit new mutants, tying in with the whole event where mutants are now a much bigger population than they used to be. And he comes across a young girl whose mutant powers has just kicked in. Clearly she's frightened, she's scared, she's not sure what the hell is going on. She's eating a raw fish from a fisherman's net. This is, I don't know what to call her. They don't really call her anything. It's Shark Girl, something along those lines. And we have a kind of choices storyline, and this is where Mystique comes in. Angel, he's got the best, he's doing his best, but as our young New Mutant says, he's a little bit churchy. He's a little bit preachy. And she ain't down for that. But then Mystique comes along with her own brand of recruitment advice. And that's not so good either. Because it's completely the opposite way around. And a big, huge fight ensues with Mystique and I think is it the Silver Samurai? Yeah, the new Silver Samurai. And it's all fun, it's all exciting, it's all action-packed. It didn't have that kind of... It didn't have that kind of goofy, silly kind of storytelling that we've had over the last few issues, though it does look kind of goofy. We've got a completely new artist on board. I hope it's just for this issue, because I wasn't a huge fan of the artist. It's Sanders. Steve Sanders on art with Frank D'Amato as the colourist. I don't know, it just didn't look quite right. There are some... I think it could be the heavy inking style here. All the characters do seem to be surrounded by a black outline, which doesn't really make it look that nice. We do find out in this issue that, you know, Angel's new powers that he got when he was in Uncanny X-Force from the seed has basically grown him a whole new body. But the more he seems to be using the powers, the likelihood is this has got a finite time on it. And once that has been all used up, Angel might be a goner. Again. For a Wolverine and the X-Men title, this was a kind of a little bit below par. Still a great title, still a solid read. But I'm looking forward to the Carnival coming to town next month, and with Bradshaw back on art. Go check it out. Next it's Batman and Robin issue 14, and we kind of left off with issue 13, Damian Robin being attacked and assaulted by a mob of kind of zombie population of Gotham. The whole setup for this was very confusing. And it doesn't get that much more clarification as you go along with the story. Even the kind of ending is kind of almost throwaway. Robin's playing possum, and he's trying to find out where he's being taken to by this mob, and obviously we're going down into the bowels of Gotham, into the sewers, and we are introduced to the Saturn Club. Whether they are known or whether this is a new club, but blood to live, or something along that line. There's lots of chanting, there's gowns, there's chanting, more chanting, and eventually Robin stops playing possum and starts dishing out some violence only Damian can do. Obviously Daddy Dearest isn't very happy about this because he told Robin to stay put, but when has a teenage son ever done what his father's told him? I'm going to spoil... I don't even see this really as a spoiler, but it all gets wrapped up. Batman flies in, helps Robin out. All these kind of zombie-type population of Gotham suddenly are okay again. They're no longer under the influence. And it's all a big part of Joker's plan. That came out of nowhere. And it just made no sense to me. As much as I've enjoyed reading Batman and Robin, it does seem to be the case now where every issue is just forcing the point home of the father and the son relationship. And while it was at one point quite cute, it was quite endearing. We need to move on from that now. We get the idea that this is a father and a son and they're coming to terms with not having been in their lives for a great many years, and that your son has been brought up by like a league of assassins and is probably the most dangerous teenager in all the world. We get that. Let's move on. Unfortunately, and here's a big announcement, I'm dropping Batman and Robin. The way my comic book shop goes, I am going to have to pick up at least the next 2 issues because they've already been pre-ordered, so it won't disappear straight away. You'll still get a couple more issues of reviews of that. Things are being replaced with it, but that's another video. Given that I'm dropping it, I don't even know whether to say I recommend it or not. It was a very confusing issue. So here we go, folks. It's the top 2 comics of the week, and yes, they are those hotly anticipated next issues. This one only just got pipped at the post. After a 2-month hiatus, we've all been expecting something big as a comeback from Brian K. Vaughan. It is, of course, it's issue 7 of Saga. And anyone who was expecting Brian to come back all guns blazing may be a little disappointed. Issue 7 is actually a very subdued, low-key book with some quite touching and tender moments along the way. We begin seeing, in like a flashback, Marco as a child and the effect that the battles between the 2 planets or moon stars, Wreath and Landfall, and how it all kind of came together, and how much the Wreaths hate the Landfalls and the Landfalls hate the Wreaths. And despite there is a lot of violence in the first few pages, the battles between the 2 being shown through a kind of magic of Marco's mother and father. It is a very kind of effective, emotive start to the book. We then come back to where we left off at the end of issue 6, where the in-laws have turned up, and it is just typical in-laws. Mother's little boy, no woman is ever going to be good enough for him, and given that it's an enemy of your race of people makes it, you know, infinitely worse. And she really does make her feelings known. But it is the kind of relationship between Alana and Marco's father that is kind of cute and telling, despite the fact that Alana's, you know, she's got her defences up here. She knows she's not going to be liked to begin with, and she doesn't help herself in some ways in this issue. There are some brief glimpses of our TV head people and the Will. Both kind of not looking well. The Will is looking quite forlorn, obviously thinking back to his past lover, the Stork. But yes, secrets are revealed. The artwork is gorgeous by Fiona Staples as always. And oh yes, there's a huge 3-eyed giant with a tiny little penis and a rather low-hanging scrotum sack. What more could you ask for from Saga? A great, great read, and I'm so happy to have it back. So, pick of the week, you've probably worked it out by now. It is, of course, Batman issue 14. Scott Snyder did it again. I'm sorry, but he did. The there was a lot to live up to with the last issue, the whole big setup and Joker's return. And, you know, the next issue you've really got to give another punch in the stomach, and I think Snyder really does it with issue 14. Joker's presence is definitely continuing to be felt, with Batman returning from his meeting with Harley and finding Alfred gone, and a taped message from the Joker announcing that he has Alfred. We have a short kind of scene with Gordon, and he basically hits the nail on the head. You know, of all Batman's kind of rogues gallery, whether it be Two-Face, the Penguin, the Riddler, you can use your detective skills. You want to know what they are going to do. You know, these villains are going to have a plan and they're going to stick to it, and using your detective skills you can stop that. But with the Joker, that's all out the window. Unpredictable to the highest degree, and you cannot predict what he's going to do, and that makes the danger element that much more scary. Batman does obviously go and try to save Alfred and meets the Joker on a bridge. And again, Snyder's using old storylines. This time, one of Joker's old kind of plots to poison Gotham's rivers and basically poison and kill the population of Gotham. But it's a twist. Joker's got a huge twist on it. But it is here that he reveals probably only a small part, but I'm sure the main crux of death of the family. And that is, there are going to be deaths of all Batman's cohorts. It's like seeing Batman and Joker together. It's almost like a love affair. And Joker, in his crazy state of mind, does see Batman as his hero, and he sees him as failing at the moment. He's relying too much on the Bat family, and so he can get his good old Batman back, the one he loves and looks up to. What's he got to do? He's got to get rid of all these do-gooders, these heir to the throne kind of deals. But again, Snyder, the Joker, throws another twist in. I don't want to spoil this too much for you, but it does start, you know, anyone who's reading this, and why aren't you, for God's sake, it does start your brain thinking and making maybe assumptions. But this whole death of the family, it does look like Batman is going to be on his own. He's going to become a lot darker. Maybe in the future. I think there is going to be a big parting of the waves between Batman and all his Nightwing, Robin, Red Robin, Batgirl, all his family. It was just a fantastic book. It's an event, and it's an event that's got me excited. It's an event that's got me wanting to have the next chapter. I can't wait. The artwork, as always, by Greg Capullo is just monstrously good. Joker just looks hideous. Batman beaten down, not only by the vat that he escapes from in the beginning, but just again starting to look very fatigued and frustrated by it all. Just a great issue, and obviously pick of the week. So that's it for this week. I hope you enjoyed my reviews. Look out for a video this weekend where I'll be announcing my next new big project that's hopefully going to involve everyone, and everyone will want to be involved. Until then, I hope you have a good weekend. Take care and goodbye.